Do women have any rights in Muslim countries? Well, Mr. Mohammed Jajab and Pearl, they discussed this on their latest podcast together. So let's take a gander. In the meantime, can somebody start my intro?
الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of the most merciful, most kind, and el nombre del más misericordioso y compasivo. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, the Rican Muslim. So yeah, let's talk a little bit about women's rights in Muslim countries. Without further ado, let's begin.
Oh my gosh, I had another question. So when I was growing up, they always told us that like Muslim countries, they don't have rights and whatever.
Yeah.
Not saying that's true. I'm just saying
Yeah,
this is
sure.
what we're told.
Mm.
And then I interviewed someone that was from Saudi Arabia, and that was, the one place that they always told me like women can't drive there.
Is that what you advocate?
Well, I mean, now I'm like, well, I mean, I know someone whose wife is paralyzed because of a woman driving.
So are you for that or against that?
No. I make jokes. But
okay.
No, like, women should be able to drive if they're good drivers. But I do know that we cause more accidents based on how much we drive. Men cause more, but they drive more. Like you have truckers and stuff.
Sure. So
anyways. So
I didn't say it, but let's be serious. When Pearl says it, all the feminists are like, no. I get it, but yeah, no. I think most women are bad drivers. I'm sorry, but that's what I've seen. I mean, that's a meme. There's a reason for it, because they're scary behind the wheels.
Find that interesting. I thought you'd take the pro-Saudi position.
No, it was more like I kind of understand where they're coming from.
Sure.
But anyways, don't quote me on that.
But the women vote though.
She's quoted. Sorry.
Even though the
most
elections
places women vote, right? I mean,
yeah.
Anyways,
go on.
Why is there a conception that women don't have rights in Muslim countries, and is there any truth to it?
Well, look, I mean, let me tell you something, Pearly, right? If you had a manifesto of what women should and shouldn't do, including number one, voting, etc., yeah, most people would say the country that Pearly runs would be a country that women don't have as much rights. But
I'm sure they would. I was like, maybe we'd agree. I don't know.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when we say women don't have any rights, I mean, according to whose conception? According to the feministic conception, absolutely. Yeah. They would not be happy with a lot of the norms and the traditions of the Muslim world. Mm-hmm. But we have to be very specific as to what we're asking about. If we're asking about women owning property, then surely in Islam, I mean, women were allowed to own property before they were allowed to in many parts of the West.
Mm-hmm.
They were allowed to marry whoever they wanted before that was even a thing. So many things that Islam gave women rights to over 1,000 years before it was even a thought, which is odd. That this whole feminist movement, and it's mainly just on the hijab. It's so like they should walk around naked, completely, utterly naked, and that's freedom. That frees them from something. They're not oppressed that way, and they should be used as toilets. I don't know how that frees them, though.
That was always a thing that women can do. On the issue of voting, I mean, we don't have necessarily votes because democracy is a Western concept. But we had something called Pledge of Allegiance, and that was both men and women were allowed to do so, for example. On the issue of whether a woman has a say in the marriage, surely she does have a say in the marriage. And in fact, there's a verse in the Quran that says that a woman has as much as the man has in terms of rights, except that the man has 1 degree over her. So the Quran does not embellish the rights of the man as much as the Western man thinks that it does. Of course, there is such a thing as obedience, and of course, there's such a thing as gender roles. Of course, there's such a thing as polygamy in Islam, that man can marry multiple wives, and the polygyny, really.
What if she says no to it? What if he says, I want wife number 2, and she says no?
Look, like, no one can force anyone to do anything they don't want to do, especially if she had put that as a stipulation in the contract for marriage.
And
yeah, another thing, contracts too. It's not even this goes beyond what the so-called there's something similar to that in the West, but no, nothing as a concept as it was 1400 years ago. Everything, do I want you to have more wives? Do I not? How much money do I want? What's my safety net? There's so many stipulations on that marriage contract that it's talk about being beyond, beyond its time. It's all based on the woman, her rights, and giving her a security and safety net. But yet they're somehow oppressed because they're not walking around naked.
Then he can't do it.
If she, according to one view, another view says that he can still do it because it's his God-given right. But
what's your view?
I take the first view.
That
if she had put it in the contract, he has to follow that.
Okay.
But if she hasn't put it in the contract, then he can
just take the L.
Yeah.
Sorry, just take the L.
Well, for the woman, you're saying.
Well, if she didn't want it, it'd be an L, right?
Yeah, sure, but it's not going to be like that because in practice.
Well, Westerners are in soft polygamy anyway, so that's the thing. It's like, I'm like, guys, you realize that if you have an ex-boyfriend, you're in soft polygamy in a way, or
I like that soft polygamy. I like that concept. That's actually pretty. Yeah, I mean they're sleeping around so much. Go to any church and try to talk about abstinence, and you will be laughed out of that church. It is a laughing thing to even talk about. Nobody practices at all, especially the youth on there. I think, please, the things that I know that I've heard from my dad from middle school will shock everyone. Yeah, it's a joke. Being chaste is a joke.
Like if you're in a situationship, that's basically polygamy. The women have more rights under Islam.
Yeah,
like in a way.
I agree. No, I agree with that. Look,
but that's why they'll kind of. I'm not for polygamy, so don't don't misquote.
That's very interesting.
I know. Well, okay.
Really?
How do I put this?
The red pill says
I'm not for or against. I think people are gonna do what they're gonna do.
So if you were married and your husband wanted to get a second wife, what would you say?
I'd just rather not.
Okay, well, what if he does it?
I'd say, could we not? Well, I mean, if I have a kid by him, you gotta stick it out at that. Like, what are you gonna do? Go be a single mom?
Oh, there we go. What if it's a value man? Technically, you're supposed to remember you're part of the red pill movement. You're supposed to share him, but in a very detrimental and sinful way. Instead of him just marrying another person and treating them like her wife and following the way God wants him to.
Yeah, your life will be better.
But you would say to him you'd rather not. But
yeah, I mean, I think.
What if a man was married and wanted you as a second wife, or third, or fourth?
I'd rather not. You know, I've had actually somewhat offers like that.
Oh, really?
Okay, I'm okay on that.
From people in the Muslim community.
Yeah, but not. I don't want to. But
fair enough.
I mean, I don't know how serious they were.
No, probably fully serious because they can marry a Christian woman. They're allowed to.
I don't know. I didn't explore it that far because.
No, but I find that interesting because it seems to me that
I think a lot of Christians are hypocritical.
Maybe you're affected by feminism a little bit here.
Maybe. No, I think Christians are hypocritical.
Go on.
Okay, because the Christians will say the Muslims are so bad because they do the polygamy. You guys can't have polygamy, yada, yada, yada. And okay, maybe one part of me understands where they're coming from. It's kind of weird to me for a guy to have multiple wives. That's odd.
Really?
Wait. But I think it's hypocritical because, I mean, ladies, how many of us were virgins on our wedding days? It's like
no, in the Muslim community, it's like 90%.
Yeah, well, okay, I'm talking about I'm saying this is why it's hypocritical.
Sure.
How many women have been with a cheating ex-boyfriend? Everyone. How many women in the West have shared a man at some
point?
That
stuff doesn't apply to the Muslim community almost at all.
I understand, but I'm saying in the West, it's I think it's really hypocritical for them to judge the polygamy so harshly when we are effectively doing the same thing because most women share a man at some point.
But also they believe the whole born again thing. They're born again virgins. So it's kind of like, yay, let's keep doing it, keep fornicating, and then you just become born again and then fill in the blank. So it's almost like you're getting an allowance to do that.
even in Christian,
Yeah.
because most Christians, like statistically in the West, 3% of women are waiting for a religious reason for marriage. So it's not like even the
3%.
tradcon women are doing it. Like, I just think it's a bit hypocritical.
Yeah.
That's
let me be clear.
Only
Like
three?
on the most contentious issues that affect women today in Islam, I would say number one is polygamy, or the man that can have up to 4 wives at one time. A woman cannot do the same. A man can marry a Christian or a Jew, whereas a woman can only marry a Muslim man.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because it's like you're supposed to, well, even in the Christian point of view, like if you submit, I think it's weird when women don't take their husband's religion, because it's like if you're supposed to trust him in all things.
Sure, no, we wouldn't go that far. We would say a woman still has to think for herself. I mean, definitely.
Well, yeah, but why would you be with a guy where you don't trust his judgment? That's like
no, but with
point.
religion, everyone has to have their own judgment.
Well, yeah, I think you should trust
no, I get you.
Yeah.
Okay, so the third thing is obviously on this point, obedience.
Okay.
So you got to obey the husband. Number 4 is inheritance, because there's some disparity in the way that inheritance is distributed. Not always necessarily not favoring the woman, but it's just not 50-50 at all cases. Sometimes actually favors the woman. It depends on the situation. And finally, I would say the 5th most contentious issue is that affects women today. I think that's it. I think these are the 4 big issues,
Are we allowed to? We're not.
And all of them completely and utterly are rooted with Western beliefs and feminism. All of them. Every single one.
We're allowed to show our hair, right?
Yeah, okay, the dress code, fair enough. Yeah.
Well, I would think that's because I've heard, I haven't seen too much of Lauren Southern's old stuff, but she recently did a hit piece on the red pill. So I saw the beginning, and I guess she was very anti-Islam. And I don't know. I wasn't really that politically involved during this time.
Yeah.
But she was saying, like, under Sharia law, you have to cover your hair.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
For a woman, but there's no punishment if she doesn't do it. Like, it's not. So, like, for example, a woman comes out into a Muslim country and she doesn't have a headscarf on. What's going to happen? Is he going to whip her? Is he going to stone her? There's no such punishment that's prescribed in Islam. Do you know what I mean? So this is an obligation, but there's no penal punishment that if she doesn't do it, then this is going to happen. These are, I would say, fair.
I believe it's like a community shaming. I think sometimes they may even give her a fine by here, like a jaywalking fine. It's going to cost you $10.
Enough. These are the 5 things that you would consider to be, from a feminist perspective, wrong. Obviously, from our perspective, we consider it to be right.
Yep, and I think it's fascinating that women were given so many more rights in Islam 1,500 years ago than anything they've gotten up until the women's suffrage. They were able to marry who they want, divorce when they want. It's true. Own their own property, jobs. They had a role, not just in also they were invited. They can teach, unlike if you read the Bible. But now all this hippie, Protestants, no, it's different. No, he can. You're supposed to squint your eye when you read this passage. It's nonsense. In Corinthians, it says they're supposed to also cover their head. No, it's not. That's actually not true because reasons. It's fascinating that a lot of the things that's prescribed in the Bible show up in the Quran as well. It's just that Christians don't really care at all. It's all about does it make me feel good, and can I indulge myself in it? So let me know what you guys think. Subscribe, comment, like, and share. And until next time, assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.